Morning, everyone. It's 10 after 8. I'm going a little early this morning because the biggest news that we have, economic news that we have, which is pending home sales, doesn't come until 10 o'clock. And the mortgage apps, which came in at negative 1.1% versus last week's plus 4.9%, are already out. So there's no reason to wait for 8:30. Okay, so futures are bouncing here a bit. The Dow is currently up about 160, Nasdaq up 120, and the S&P up about 28. They were much higher earlier, but they are still holding on to gains. Although you got to say, when you look at a 400-point decline on the Nasdaq and you see 120, that's really a pretty anemic bounce. Same thing with the S&P was down 90, up 28, and the Dow down almost 600, up a quarter of that. In any event, this should be a pretty interesting test because up until now, all of these moves have accelerated back to the upside after these big down days. Okay, Washington. Schumer yesterday saying, oh yeah, we can pass this no problem. Except they didn't. That's the debt ceiling. They don't want to do it on the basis of reconciliation, because if you do it with reconciliation, which they think they can do, they have to name a specific amount for that debt ceiling to be up, and that is a very scary number. At the same time, on Sunday, Pelosi said, oh, yeah, well, we're going to vote on this Monday. Of course, Monday comes and all of a sudden it's Friday. So we'll see what infrastructure looks like later in the week. The progressives really have a stranglehold here, and all of them withheld their vote on the Schumer and the initial infrastructure issues. Micron beat last night, but gave poor guidance. The stock closed 70.38. That's down 272, 3.7%. Also, Sherwin-Williams, which gave guidance for the second time in a month, was 273.99, down 563, down 2%. That guidance is based pretty basically on the same thing. Supply shortages, raw material prices up. Dollar Tree announced a substantial buyback today, and the stock, which is down from about 115 or so in the last 3 months, is currently trading 92.5, up 622, which is a nice little bounce, 7.2% on that buyback. Boeing upgraded over at Bernstein, 223.74, up 533. So a nice bounce there. CalMaine beat both top and bottom line and was $2 higher with positive guidance. And Warby Parker, WRBY, goes public this morning on the NYSE at $40 as a reference price. So no money being raised, but it looks like the valuation will be about $5 billion when that happens. As far as futures go, chart on the screen is the oil, which had really no damage done to it yesterday. Wasn't great that it got as high as just under 77, 76.67, was down to 74.24, and closed mid-range, is a little bit lower this morning, but basically the low this morning down at 73.74 is a lower low, and we have a lower high, but really all it's done is come right back down to this point of breakout, and it is on the high of the day. So we'll see how that plays out during the day. Let me get back to that. Okay, gold higher by $6.20. which is somewhat interesting. The silver is down 15 cents, and the copper, which is more industrial, is barely unchanged. It's down 0.4%. Platinum is higher, palladium is higher. So we'll see what happens there. Also, coffee looks like it's getting ready to break out again. I may add to our position in JO today. As you can see, it's down a little here, but basically what we've done is just like with the oil, we pulled back right to the point of breakout and rallied, and now we're giving back a little. But if we stay over this 194.35 or so, we will be bouncing off that 5-day moving average, which the day before yesterday crossed the 20 back to the upside, the old Dick Donchen rule. Okay, we got long the bonds yesterday. They're up 13.30, so a little under a half a point. They have been higher this morning. Yesterday's low was 158 and 23/32, so that's 158 and about 3/4. Overnight they were down to 158.22, so a really minor new low, but they have bounced. And while I see rates going higher vis-a-vis battling inflation, we are oversold. We came down from 164 to 158 and 22 in 5 days. So it's not really the issue of what yields are, but rather how fast they moved. Same situation with the 10-year. That has bounced pretty well. It's trading right around 150 after trading as high as 157 yesterday. All right, everyone, be careful out there. It's a tough market. Keep size appropriate. We could easily work off this little bit of a bounce and test yesterday's low. That's actually pretty close by, but we'll see if we've gotten the buy the dip mentality squelched here. This is the time of the year for it to happen, and I'll be back later. Don't forget to hit subscribe.